Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Last night around 7 p.m., officers responded to a possible abuse at an apartment on Aniani Street in Waipahu. The first arriving officer spoke with a 23-year-old male and a female in the apartment, and they described that, yes, they had an argument. The female only asked that the male be removed from the residence, at which time the male did leave the residence and walked out to Aniani Street. The two responding officers were returning back to their vehicles after several minutes of talking with the individuals in the apartment when they saw a second female, who also from the apartment, follow the 23-year-old male that was initially asked to leave the apartment and argue with him and appeared to strike him with what looked like a walking stick. Shortly thereafter, the officers were now heading back towards this incident with the female and the walking stick and the 23-year-old male who was the suspect in the original argument case. As the officers were walking back, another male, 18-year-old male, came out from the driveway and the structure area onto the street between the female with the walking stick, a vehicle, and the victim, who was the 23-year-old male. This 18-year-old male had a machete. He was swinging at the 23-year-old male, who was now backing away. One officer drew their taser. The second officer drew their firearm. And after several commands to the individual to drop the machete, to stop his actions, he continued. They made separation between the female with a walking stick towards the middle of the street. The victim kept backing away. The suspect with the machete continued to slash at the male, at which time the officers were still commanding the gentleman to drop the machete. He did not. The officer fired one round and hit the male in the torso. He dropped to the ground immediately. He was disarmed at that point, and medical attention was provided to him. The individual who was the victim of the machete slashing, which is an attempted murder case, had injuries to his arm. He is now in custody for abuse of household member incident. That was the original call. And the suspect who was shot in the torso has been arrested for attempted murder, and he is currently incarcerated at that point and time. The officers have 10 and 16 years, respectively, in the department. They are from the District 3 or Pearl City area. And this is, of course, there's an administrative investigation into the critical incident protocol that we have as standard policy, and that will. We've also offered administrative leave to the two officers that were involved, and at that time, I'll take any questions you may have. Sir.
Could you give us the condition of the victim, or not victim, but the person that was shot in the torso? What is his current condition?
His current condition, he's currently in the cell block as we speak. He's been released from the hospital with a gunshot wound in the torso. So it's not a critical incident, but it's still, he's under doctor's care, but right now he's in custody. He's been released from the hospital.
Are these family members?
Yes, they are.
So the 18-year-old and the woman with the
The 23-year-old is not the family member. He is I don't know if he's related to, he claims that was his wife. I don't know if they're girlfriend, boyfriend, or married, but he is not an immediate family member. He's by marriage or a boyfriend of. The rest were all family members. So the female with a walking stick, the suspect with the machete are all family members, along with the female victim in the original abuse case. Does that make sense?
The 18-year-old did actually strike the 23-year-old with the machete, and that 20-year-old was injured through that.
Yes, he had injuries to his arms, which are consistent with defensive posture of trying to block the machete, yes.
And then the woman originally with the 23-year-old, when the initial call came in, was there any signs of abuse or anything like that?
I don't believe so, because the officers were leaving. I think she was, I won't say uncooperative, but less than forthcoming with information. She just wanted the individual to leave. And I don't believe they saw original signs. I think later on during the full investigation, after the officer-involved shooting, the full truth came out.
Were there any prior reports in that area regarding this group of people where you had police officers respond to the scene in the past?
My understanding is there has been numerous calls over the period of time for that area and maybe that specific apartment. As to what exactly those are, I don't have that information yet.
Do you have the ages of the female?
We could get that.
Yeah, we can get that. I don't know if it's the same age as the 23-year-old male.
Chief, what about any officers? Can you tell us what type of injuries they sustained, if there was any?
So both officers were not injured in this incident. One officer who fired or discharged their firearm is a crisis intervention trained officer. The other officer who drew their taser was not crisis intervention trained. You may ask, why didn't he get a chance to fire the taser first instead of the firearm? There was not time. It was a matter of seconds between the time the male appeared with the machete, attacked the individual. The officers had seconds to react before grave danger was to the victim of the machete attack.
Chief, were body cameras activated?
Yes.
And approximately how close was the officer who fired the shot to the man who was shot?
I think within 10 feet, but I'm not sure. We'll be able to figure that out through the investigation. Might be a little farther.
Is that standard procedure where to aim where they shot in the torso?
Center mass aimed to stop the individual from the activity they're engaged in, which was swinging a machete at an individual, yes.
Would this be classified as like a case of domestic abuse?
The initial part was classified as an abuse of household member or domestic abuse, yes.